Hey there, kids. It's me, Oni the Unicorn. And I'm here to tell you that f***ing your dreams ain't cheap. In fact, it costs a ton of cash to do. So that's why me and the Ohno radio show need your help. Just go to the website displayed below and hit us up with some cash, yo. $1, $5, $1 million if you have it to spare. Any amount is appreciated. Well, I gotta go because these dreams ain't gonna fuck themselves. See ya!
Yes, welcome back to another edition of the Ohno Wrestling Podcast. My name is Owen and I am your sharp braid kid, and no King of Bong style here tonight, but what we do have is the one and only Clint Bobski, our modern day Maharaja. It's the one and only Matthew. Matthew, we've got a lot to talk about today. One of the first things I gotta bring up is that we have a vacant championship, sir.
We do.
I mean, I tried to argue my way into retaining, but I do feel that yes, it is a vacant championship since you guys technically both tied and beat me, and I was the former champion. But you guys didn't. No one decisively won, so we can't have a real champion at the moment for our predictions.
Yeah. You were fair. You could have, as the captain and the champion, you could have really strong-armed us. So I will say you were, if nothing else, you are fair.
I'm a fair and fighting champion. I told you I would be. I won the belt with probably the most defining victory of all predictions time over WrestleMania weekend. So I will say that I do deserve some credit here, and I'll say that we've got another pretty interesting rounds of predictions tonight because we have two shows coming back to back off of Double or Nothing.
I will say I did advocate for a reverse unification of the belts because I really wanted for Duncan and I to unify together to one belt as opposed to two belts unifying into one. It was like a reverse unification. I did throw that out there. It didn't really take.
No.
But I was just trying to stay in wrestling zeitgeist there.
I hear you. I just don't feel that was the right call. So so we're gonna find out. I mean, the belt might change hands 2 times, right? Over the next couple of days.
It might. It's finally coming home, probably.
So Saturday and Sunday with Hell in a Cell and NXT, what is it, In Your House, whatever.
In Your House.
Yeah, another one of thems. But we should probably address this past week, and I think the most obvious place to start is, of course, the Double or Nothing pay-per-view. We won't do a match-by-match breakdown by any means, but I wanted to get your kind of your highlights, your lowlights, your general just thought process, and what kind of score you would give, say out of 10 points, man, what would you give the pay-per-view as a whole?
Right off the top of my head, I'd give it a 7.5, maybe as high as a 7.7.
I think that's right around the range. I was gonna go without getting into decimals. I was probably gonna give it an 8. It's more of an 8 than it is a 7, right?
Okay, it is. That's why why I said 7.5, and then I was like, yeah, 7.7. So I would lean more to that.
More
8,
to that, and we don't have to. Yeah, I mean that okay. So that explains it kind of perfectly. I think we're right around the same thought process and the same mentality as to how much we enjoyed it. It was not the best AEW pay-per-view that they've ever done, and they're going to be hard to beat from now on because they have really delivered. It was long. Did you find it long?
It was extremely long. I think I saw someone post in the group. I forget who it was. Apologies for that. But like one day I'm gonna tell my grandkids I sat all the way. I watched this pay-per-view live. It
was about 4.5
without the pre-show.
Without the pre-show, so
without the buy-in. So because it was, if it started at 6 my time, which was 8 your time, right? So because it was in Vegas, so it was 6 my time, is 5 there. So that's the thing. Like when they do a West Coast pay-per-view, like it's like it really fucks it up for you all too.
It does. It's actually a lot easier if you're West Coast and you're viewing it, because if you start like, for the people that started the pay-per-view and ended it, or like, what did the pay-per-view end at your time? Like 9:30 or something? Or
so it started at 6, it ended at 10:30. 10:30.
That's a lot more palatable.
It was 12:30 that for you all.
Yeah,
a lot more palatable. So, and that's the thing is like, I definitely don't go that way. Sometimes I am like, fuck, pay-per-view starting, right? And I'm like doing some things on a Saturday or Sunday, depending on when it is. I'm like, oh no, I got a plan to watch it right now. It would be nicer if I was on the East Coast, but I get it why you do it on the East Coast. And I've totally adjusted, and I totally agree that it's harder for you all
when it's that way around.
It's 100% harder. I'm technically either way okay because I'm Mountain Time.
You're in the middle. Yeah,
I'm literally an hour from Pacific and 2 hours from you all, so I'm fucking golden, right?
That is the sweet spot for sure. That is absolutely the sweet spot.
It is.
I'll say this, like, part of the reason that the whole pay-per-view for me gets those like points knocked off, at least those 2, is they did feel like 1 or 2 too many matches. And because of those 1 or 2 too many matches, it threw off the pacing of the show. The pacing of the show wasn't bad. I mean, I've seen worse for sure. But they've also done better. And a lot of that too is, from what I've heard, is this whole deal that Tony Khan wanted to kind of counter book to the NBA, what is it, Eastern Finals or Finals, whatever they're at. It was something to do with that, because he promised that no matter what, even if they went into 7 overtimes, they would get the ability to tune over and see CM Punk and Hangman Page, that he was not starting that match until that game had finished. So that right there tells you that they were booking a little bit more on the fly on this one, that the match, like he had a clue as to how long every competitor got, but he was either stretching or compressing depending on how he was probably feeling about how that game was going and where that game would end.
Like, did they add Darby Allin, Kyle O'Reilly?
It was literally, I think, the day before or something.
Okay,
it came out of nothing. Maybe it was on the Rampage or something, but
because I totally, like, I didn't know that one was happening, and when it started,
didn't
I was
predict
like, oh shit, Kyle O'Reilly. And
we didn't predict it, so we didn't know it was happening.
Yeah.
So absolutely, it was a last minute ad. I also don't think that talking about matches that didn't need to be on the show. I understand you want to get Jade Cargill on the show, and I understand they wanted to do a big thing with the baddies and Stokely Hathaway being debuted and the Athena debut. And we can talk a little bit more about that later, but did that match really need to be on the pay-per-view? In my eyes, no.
No, you could have done that on the buy-in.
That could have been a buy-in match for sure. I also don't know that the very last minute random and another one. I don't think that we didn't get to predict this because it wasn't announced. The very last minute weird ass mixed tag team match that happened.
Yeah.
With
Paige Van Zant and
top
Top
team.
Team.
What was it? Ethan Page and Scorpio, and then on the other side, and then on the other side, you had Sammy and randomly Kazarian with pairing with Sammy. Like it just all felt like let's make sure that they're all on the card, for no reason. I like that. I like the end. You know, I do like that the end thing is that apparently now the stipulation was that if top team wins, that neither Sammy or Kazarian can challenge for the TNT title while Scorpio Sky is champion. Yeah. So they added that later. Like when they first said it, it was like they can never challenge for the TNT title, but they added, while Scorpio Sky is champion. And I like that because it gets both of those guys out of this picture. So it had a purpose, but did it need to be on the pay-per-view? No, it didn't. It kind of, it sort of drug a huge part of the show down. So those are I think my lows. Like what other?
That was a definite low. I will also say I don't know if it's true or not. I've read reports about Paige Van Zant saying she wants more money.
Oh,
right, and she did what she was supposed to do. I will credit where credit is due, but she looked like she was fresh out of wrestling school.
Nah, she looked green as hell. She wasn't ready. She was not ready for that match. She was
fresh out of wrestling school. The moves she did, but they're basic moves, right? Yeah. But she did the job, but she doesn't need to be in the ring with those caliber of other wrestlers, right?
And as much as we can talk about how detestable Tay and Sammy are, Tay has come a long way and is a quite proficient pro wrestler. Not, of course, we know about her, background in martial arts, but and I think that might have been why they decided to put them together, right? Because of their sort of mixed martial arts experience between the two of them. But it didn't feel very real. It all felt very let's keep you safe. It wasn't nothing about that match interested me. And part of that is something that we've been saying on this show for a while is I don't think that they have the right type of heat. Specifically Sammy and Tay. They don't have the right type of heat.
Well, and especially in that match, what I found interesting was I know they're playing into that, right? And it's part of the storyline, but it's just so fucking over the top.
Too much.
With Sammy not paying attention to anything and only licking her face while she's actually worried about something, but he's so not paying. And maybe that's the point, but I don't. It is the point.
It is where they're trying to go. It is totally the point. But
he's completely hypnotized.
Yeah, it's definitely where they're going with it, but it's still not very likable at all, and it's still not I don't think that it's getting the proper heel heat. They are very much go home, X-Pac. We're done. Yeah. We don't want you, right?
We don't want you. We're done. Yeah.
Yeah. So that could have definitely been left off the show.
I'll say. All right, so we said Anna Jay and Jade Cargill. We said, what was it? We said Darby Allin, Kyle O'Reilly. That came out of nowhere, although
it was a really good match.
It was a really good match, and I've been really digging fucking Kyle O'Reilly wrestling singles a lot.
It was
fucking great. I just wasn't expecting it, and it, like you said, when it made me think of the placement of it in the card was to Phil because Tony Khan threw that in there as the booker, it seemed like, because it was right before those last two matches or whatever, and it was if I need this to go long, you're gonna go long, If I need you to squash, you're gonna fucking squash.
And it's also one of those weird things that he literally could have announced that match on Rampage, and I think they did. I think they did announce that match on Rampage.
I might have missed that.
If it wasn't, it was like the day after or something like that. But at the same time, it was so, like, I guess kind of subtle and just there that had they just not done that match, none of us would have missed it.
Yeah.
Like, none of us would have been like, what? Where did that go? And we
Yeah.
would have just said, oh, that was obviously cut for time. Like that,
Yep.
like, and they'll put that on Dynamite this week or something like that. It was good. I kind of want to see him run it back. I kind of want to see him have a little bit more time with it.
Yep.
It was a surprising, like, up note of the whole show. I don't know exactly where you stand on it, but what is your number one?
My number one is probably going to be, if I'm saying just straight wrestling matches,
Well,
Death Triangle,
yeah.
Death Triangle, House of Black.
It
If
was-
I'm saying
it
it,
was
like,
the best.
I also,
Yeah,
it
that
was
was
the best match on the card.
It was the
for
best.
Sure.
It was the best match technically on the card. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anarchy in the Arena. I fucking loved that.
I couldn't
it
have
was-
loved it
it-
more. I couldn't
dude,
have loved it more.
Me neither. I fucking it was, dude. It was brutal as fuck.
It was.
The way that they portrayed it, on the way they shot it and everything, I thought was awesome because it added to the chaos. Because there was, you know how like usually they like go for a segment when they did Stadium Stampedes and then it's like a couple minutes. This was like cutting back and forth within like 5 to 10 second cuts of things, two different things, because so much was happening
and we didn't even get to see it all. Like,
I need to rewatch it. Yeah. And we'll never see it all unless
I
they
have
do like
watched
an extended cut.
I have watched it twice, and I definitely
Okay.
caught a bunch of stuff that I didn't catch the first time.
Okay.
Like live. So I implore you to do that from even just the feed that we got. But you're 100% right. What if there's a market in that? In basically having this like almost director's cut of a match where you get to see a little bit more, and there's this like, yeah, it's still the same length of the match technically, but this 5-minute match becomes an hour-long match because there's all the different like stuff that you didn't see. Like,
I was just thinking about this. What if it was like a choose your own adventure? Because originally I was like,
oh, that's a brilliant idea.
I was like, what if you just had split screens and it was like 4 or 6 or whatever, and I was like, that's too much. And I was like, what if it's each one you want to watch a certain wrestler?
Yes.
So you get to choose one wrestler and then you just see the extended cut of what they dealt with through the entire thing.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Like, you focus literally just on Moxley. You focus just on Bryan. You focus.
I would pay money for that.
I think that there's like, if they want to,
can we like sell that to Tony Khan?
We should probably sell that to Tony Khan. TM.
Dude, you got a lot of money. We're not asking for a lot. It's a lot for us, but not for you.
Dude, like, they could really do that. This was brilliant in so many ways, and it is my number one highlight of the pay-per-view. Like, as good as that Death Triangle match was, when we can talk about that at length, but what that was just a really fucking awesome lucha match in a sense, that had so.
God, dude, even fucking Brody King.
I think I used to look at booking in a weird way, and I used to look at it. It was like, oh, this guy and this guy would work really well together because they're so similar. Now I'm sort of going like with this opposite mindset of it, because I think it's so much more interesting when you have the clash of styles. Now, you absolutely have similarities between Pac and Buddy Matthews. You have similarities between even Penta and Alistair, or Malachi Black. But Brody King was that defining factor in this match, like, in my mind, because he's the one that made it that much more interesting. Because as big as Penta is, the biggest guy in the match, I'd say, like, on their side, nothing like that.
Nothing compared to Brody.
Nothing
and then even some of the almost, you could consider it high flying shit that he did, right?
Correct.
Like, Dude, he fucking and we've seen him. He does the cannonball flip like off. He does.
But how do
that
you even try to catch that dude?
I don't, dude. I don't even know. But I loved him with the face paint.
Oh, it was cool. Like both of them, like all of them.
Yeah.
It sort of glows in the dark. Their
Yeah.
gear sort of glows in the dark. So I like that touch if they're gonna, especially if they're gonna keep doing like the blackout stuff. What did you think of the finish in Julia Hart with that?
I mean, I think it finally paid off. You know,
About goddamn time.
It's about time. I mean, I will say this about the pay-per-view. One thing that did bring, and I know we kind of mentioned it at least, like, you know, through chat, but it was that they, even though some matches were good, the finishes weren't great.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really weak point in this pay-per-view. I will say this. I don't remember what pay-per-view last year. I don't know if it was, well, maybe it was Revolution this year.
Yeah.
I think it was the one before that, the pay-per-view. But I think there was one AEW pay-per-view where we were all pretty let down. I forget what it was.
Which one? Well, there's the Full Gear one.
Is that in November?
I think it might have been Full Gear. I can't. It was
I
whatever one that isn't the one that Cole and Danielson showed up on.
Yeah.
It
wasn't that one.
So that was all out. That one. So it must have been Full Gear.
I feel like Full Gear, we were all disappointed. I was really thinking about it. I was like, what other pay-per-views? And here, hold on. Let me look at the card real quick just to see. Let me see if this tells us. On Wikipedia, it says, all right. So Sheeta, Thunder Rosa, Jamie Hayter, Nyla Rose, MJF defeated Darby Allin. The Lucha Bros defeated FTR.
Yeah, it was this one.
Bryan Danielson defeated Miro. Christian Cage and Jungle Express defeated the Super Click.
It
Cody
was this
Rhodes
one.
and Pac versus Malachi Black and Andrade. That happened. Yeah. Britt Baker
it was
and Tay
definitely
Conti.
It was this one.
Yeah,
it was this
it was
one.
that one.
So that was.
It did have CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston. Inner Circle beat Men of the Year, and then Hangman defeated
Which I think
Kenny.
we were really high on CM Punk Kingston, right? And Duncan wasn't. I want to say. So we were because Duncan's not here. I just want to kind of relay some of his thoughts. He was definitely, like he said, match of the night definitely goes to that tag triple the one with goddamn fucking the House of Black and all that shit. Whereas for us, I don't know. I was I think I gotta give it. I gotta give it to the Anarchy in the Arena instead of. I mean, just call it Arena Anarchy, right? Like,
yeah,
whatever.
But I mean, Will, I love that they kept playing his music. I think I sent it to you guys, both of you, like in our chat group, and I was like, man, I love that the music is still playing. And then I love that it came full circle and fucking Jericho grabbed the DI and fucking ripped it
out. He's like, no, I'm a sports entertainer. I hate this bullshit too. Like
it was great.
It adds to the character. I think all of it fucking worked. It also harkens back to a lot of the old New Jack matches where his song would play completely the whole time through. The fans were a little bit pissed off, I think, when they actually cut the music. And I understand it, though, because that match was long and you couldn't, like, it would have gotten old as hell. It was going to
turn into, like, a torture room where, you lock someone in and play the same death metal over and over again.
But for that 5 or so minutes, or however long that played, it was perfect. And it felt like a party. It felt like, it did feel like anarchy. And the way
really did.
The way that Justin Roberts even like added to it. Do you remember?
Oh, he did at the very beginning. Yes. Where he said like shit's about to get crazy.
He's like, ladies and gentlemen, shit's about to go down. Like, like
it really added to it. It definitely did. I will say they've fucked up a lot of gimmick matches.
They have.
They finally pulled off a good one there.
It was great. It was great. And I like Stadium Stampede for what it is. But
Me too.
But this was a nice blend on kind of like kind of a cinematic match, but not really, and making it palatable for the arena of fans, like that don't have to just watch a monitor for most of it. Like,
did you hear Jericho on any? I read about it. I forget what it was on, whether it was a podcast or something. When he was talking about it. So like you said just now, Stadium Stampede, right? It was more cinematic. It was this, it was like a different time. He mentioned that because when he was saying about doing it, he's like, we thought about revisiting a Stadium Stampede, and he's like, but it just didn't feel right. So he's like, we had to adopt that idea with like a full on. He's like, so do that. He's like, not saying we won't revisit a stadium. He's like, but that's for another time and another place.
No, it is. It is.
And I agree. So I think I really like what they did.
I was surprised that Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus retained.
Me too.
I did not see that coming. I thought it was. I mean, they were the last one of the three that I thought were winning that match. I guess they just want to keep them there for a little while until, I don't know who, maybe drop them to FTR, or like, it feels like, I mean, FTR are too face at the moment to do that, but
yeah.
They're waiting a little bit to do the Christian thing.
I think so. Yeah.
So there's something involved there. So I mean, fine. I out of the three, they were the least impressive in the ring. I thought Keith and Swerves kind of stole that show, but credit to Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks, man. Like they
both had moments.
I've not been the biggest guy on either of those dudes, but maybe I'm starting to see it, especially with Ricky. Like he's
I don't
got
know if
something.
I like his gimmick and
no,
and everything.
I'm not huge
but
on it either.
I can't deny that he's a fucking great wrestler. And I will say, to your point, that got me more interested. I think I was a little like a couple weeks ahead of you just on that turn, but I think we were both kind of similar on that Powerhouse Hobbs. And I think this did, hearing you say that, I will say that watching him do something, like, it did change a little bit for me too.
Yeah,
it piqued my interest.
They've definitely piqued my interest. We got to talk about the Hookhausen stuff, of course, as well. Like it was exactly what it needed to be. It was perfect. It was perfect. I don't know really what you do with them right now. Like after this, maybe there's something with Orange Cassidy. I feel like Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends are the next step in that world. Something like that. You know?
I will say that, like, how funny would it be if, like, like when Danhausen just would, like, maybe sometimes show up from underneath the ring. What if he, like, drags Hook out from underneath and he, like, doesn't want to be there? Like,
he's eating a bag of chips while he's under.
He's like trying to show him this side of him and, like, bring him along.
No.
He thinks they're best friends, and, like, they're not. But, like, maybe that's how you go up against best friends. I don't know. They're like, Danhausen's like, we're best friends.
I could see him doing something with them, or even like a Dark Order Colt Cabana type thing. Like, I could see maybe that working.
Have you read Colt hasn't been on AEW.
He signed. He's re-signed.
Okay, no, but from what I was reading, there's a possibility that when Ring of Honor gets set back up, that he's going to be there.
He's going to be the guy maybe over there, or one of the big, like, draws for Ring of Honor.
Or there will at least definitely push him there, right?
It would make sense.
Some people were speculating there's still some tension between him and Punk.
Oh, so that they're sending him over to more of the Ring of Honor way because they can't.
Yeah.
I don't know if I buy that. I don't know if I
don't know if I do either.
I don't like.
I feel like they're fucking like you really just don't have to deal with each other if you don't want to.
Yeah, just be pros and deal with. Yeah,
you're both showing up. Like, we all show up and fucking work with people we don't like.
Well, and we're definitely gonna get into professionalism here in a little bit because it ties into something that happened, of course, this week as well. But before we completely wrap up talking about Double or Nothing, we do have to talk.
I've got a few quick things.
I want to talk more. I want to talk about the main event first, and then we'll go back because it'll tie in better with our professionalism talk. At the end, and talk about the opening match. So let's talk about your new champion, CM Punk.
Yep.
How do you feel?
Underwhelmed.
The right guy, though. Like, if they were gonna have to do it, they were gonna have to do it eventually. And it did have to happen. I'm not thrilled about it though either.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled about it either. And the thing is, for as much as I fucking hated it, the grass is always greener, man. Sorry, hold on. I had a point that I wrote down to talk about tonight and
oh, is it coming?
And
is it?
No,
is
there's an intro. So Wardlow's entering right now.
Yeah.
So the note that I wrote down was, I hope that once this is done with him and MJF, that he gets new music when he's finally allowed to have music and do an entrance again. His music is different.
Oh, cool. All right. Yeah, I don't have the audio feed pumped into my headphones.
Sorry,
I'm watching the match, but
I turned it on real quick.
Interesting.
But yeah,
interesting.
But it is. I was hoping that would happen, and it did. Oh, this dude that he's wrestling, I forget his name. But
Bear,
we've seen him
whatever the fuck. He's with.
We've seen him before.
Yeah. He's with that that whole wingman. He's with the wingman. Yeah. He's that guy. guy. I always forget his name.
He's definitely winning this.
Yeah, for sure.
But sorry, going back to the main event. So I will say this, man. Like, for as much, like I said, grass is always greener. As much shit as I fucking talked about Hangman as a champion, I will say in those last couple of weeks leading up to this, he fucking actually like picked up his moose knuckles and fucking decided to be like a fucking like champion who was like who I believed in as a champion. I thought
it was a lot of people were criticizing this, and I think I was a lot higher than both you and Duncan on our even last podcast.
You were, yeah.
And
I didn't like a lot of his run.
I think if you look back on it, it's nowhere near as bad as people have made it seem. I still get the whole Chase is better and all that stuff. I do respect and I appreciate that, but the last couple promos and the last couple things he did before they ultimately did to set up the dynamic of this new AEW versus old AEW, in which the definitions really should be reversed, right? Because the old AEW is the young guys and the new AEW is the old guys. But I did like that became a thing, that became something that became a huge part of the story of the match. The match itself was not the best match that Punk's had, that, certainly that Page's had.
Do you think those botches on were legit or not? Because he was buying into the knee.
I'm still undecided. I think Page was selling the knee. I think that realistically he was meant to fuck it up once, but not twice.
Yeah.
And that something actually kind of happened, got in his head, and that he did fuck it up twice. There was also that spot on the turnbuckle, which they did make look realistic. They did pull it through, but there was that point where they couldn't, Punk couldn't get him up. He couldn't get him up there. And again, they
stumbled through that. Even when Punk did actually do that superplex or super whatever it was, it looked like he was probably just all right, ready to go. They were not in place.
No, they were not in place. They were not. And that was the story. Part of the story of the match is, I was more worried that one of them was going to get hurt by the other than really that was a big part of it. And what annoyed, and this is just going to be a divisive thing. There's going to be people that are Punk guys, and there's going to be people that aren't. And I'm back to not being a Punk guy. I find him annoying again, and I found that his performance in this match was annoying, and that's whether the botch was real or not. The way that he sort of mocked the whole thing is so irritating in CM Punk that I do feel that you have to turn him heel now at some point. It's not going to be. It's going to be. I think it's going to be sooner than we think.
I think it has to.
And I think it
100%
has to be.
I think it has to be, and I think I've never been a big CM Punk fan. I mean, like his promos.
He was never my guy.
Great.
He was never
my guy as a wrestler. Never my guy. He also was a lot of like kind of my dark period. But I've gone back and like I'm just like not my guy. But he can cut good promos. He can do good things, right?
And his debut in AEW was electric. There was something else.
And I fucking go back and listen to it. I think we were all fucking so amped on it. It was great.
Absolutely.
But so like credit where credit's due. He's just never been my guy. I will say I more felt leading into this that Hangman Adam Page needed to be done with the title. Although that started changing in the weeks leading up to it because he was doing more promos that like made me believe in him and feel more. I just felt a lot stronger.
I felt like it could have gone one more cycle.
There was feeling, but yeah, there was now feeling behind it, right? Like you said, standing up for the old AEW versus the new AEW, like that sort of thing. Like he had a feeling that like, all right, now I believe what you're selling me. Whereas like a lot of like him leading up to that was the thing is like, I just didn't buy it. It seemed like it was like phoning in. That was a big thing for me that made me not that because he's a good wrestler. It's not that I would never say that to him, right? Like as or about him, rather, that it was just during that I was like, you don't feel like this fucking champion. Whereas like because he also wasn't like they didn't book him as an insanely fighting champion, right? And so when it was on the line, credit where credit's due, dude, you got me fucking hooked. And I was kind of pissed that I knew they were going to give it to CM Punk, right? But it makes me wonder now with CM Punk, like they've had really long fucking runs, right? With the belt, like people, like he's what, the fifth now to have the belt?
That sounds right because you've got Jericho to Moxley to Kenny to Hangman to Punk. So yeah,
Punk,
5.
He's the fifth. Yeah. So dude, that's in what, a little over 3 years. They've all held it for quite a good amount of time. It hasn't hot potatoed or anything. So it now makes me wonder that we're talking about this. Like CM Punk, like, is he gonna turn heel and is he gonna like be the one to hold it the least amount of time?
I think that might be true. I think that could be the case. We'll kind of explore this idea in a second because it definitely ties into the opening match of the actual show, and that being, of course, the MJF Wardlow match.
Yep.
And we all heard the rumors over the weekend, and we were. I think a lot of wrestling fans were even skeptical after MJF just didn't show up to his meet and greet that people paid for, that he might not even show up to the show.
I think he is just working everyone so fucking hard.
Yeah.
That he's going to work himself into a shoot. Brother.
Well, it ties into one of our Facebook questions. We do always ask you, of course, if we're doing a show like, hey, what would you like us to discuss? And Scotty Williams, by the way, over on our Facebook, facebook.com/groups/Ohno Wrestling. Just search for Ohno Wrestling. You'll find the group, and we're right over there. But Scotty Williams says, at this point, shouldn't we consider everything MJF does is a work until it's proven to be a shoot? And I think that's exactly kind of right. Like, yeah. I think that this whole situation, if you really like analyze it, I think it does kind of start with shoot stuff, right? Like this is 100%. I do think he's mad about his, contract. I do think that he probably. I do
think he's mad, but I don't think any of us know what's actually been done about that.
Exactly.
If they were able to keep, like, dude, like everyone like thought Cody was going to WWE there, but like no one knew. Like until like the week before, right? Like everyone's like, all right, it's happening, right? Like you can't have anyone else debut against Seth Rollins, right? It just didn't make sense, right? When you got to that point, but they kept it under wraps. So I feel like he is the type of person, and Tony Khan is the type of person that are like, let's work this out behind closed doors. And like, and even if that working out is, because the thing is, from what I've read, and I'm obviously not an attorney and haven't looked at the contract, I've just read the fucking dirt sheets, but like, you know, from what I understand is like, yes, he has an option, but like also like he's not like just set in the amount of money that he's making. Like he can ask for more, like they
can negotiate.
They can do that in the middle of it. And so I think that maybe he was, there's truth to some of this, like you said at the beginning, but I think that like we now maybe like it's gone so far that like, and to the fact that, well, we can talk about, I guess, what tonight, his promo, right? But like where he's saying like, I want you to fire me, fucking fire me. And then I want to know what he said when they bleeped it out for fucking like 15 seconds.
I can't wait for that unedited YouTube video clip to surface for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, but it's like, dude, you don't keep giving someone like that, who's that volatile as an employee.
You don't just keep putting a microphone. No, exactly.
And like continue doing that, like, and allowing them to do it and fucking like call you out and do that. Like literally, this is like
this is Carney Wrestling 101.
Fucking, yeah, it's like Stone Cold and Vince. Like, you know, Stone Cold said a lot of shit back then to Vince, right? And flipped him off and fucking did so much. But like, it's very akin to, I think that they may have worked something out, and whether or not like it's a full, maybe it's like an extra year, or maybe it's like, hey, like you'll get this booking and this much money, and we'll book you out one more year on your extension, and then we revisit in 2025, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Like that might have happened, and now they're like, but we are going to work everyone super fucking hard.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna work together to make sure that we do this. Like, because that's what it seems like to me. That it started out as a very real thing, but they're like, why not take advantage of what is happening to maximize the amount of draw that you can get, and then this ties in.
It's the exact opposite of Naomi and Sasha.
This ties in to, yeah, it is. We'll talk about that when we get to our WWE half of the show. But it ties into exactly what they will be doing with CM Punk. What's CM Punk's record? 29-1. Who's the one? MJF. I really do think, and this sounds impossible, but I really do think that this is how you can turn MJF into a babyface.
I just got goosebumps. I'm not even fucking joking when I say that. Like, I just had a shiver run through me.
Because it's the old school versus the new school.
I love that.
He's one of the pillars. And if you turn Punk heel, and then you have MJF he's got his number again, and he's the one that can take the fucking title off Punk.
And then you can do an MJF Hangman feud.
And then you can do an MJF Wardlow feud if you want, and you can have MJF. That's how you get the belt on Wardlow, who is clearly destined for that.
I love this booking. I love your booking.
Thank you. It's stuff. It's things I've thought about. But yeah, I mean, if you don't do that with Wardlow, we saw him tonight. He just had another squash match. What the hell do you do with him? I've heard the prospect of him being thrown into the TNT title picture. That's cool. I don't mind that. I mean, but you got to have him with that belt for a long ass time because no one can beat Wardlow. So putting the belt on him is actually not a great idea if you want to keep that as like a fighting championship thing on TV.
It's like putting it on fucking Goldberg.
Yeah.
Which, what do you think about that? The way people are yelling Wardlow. I don't, and the walking, and they did it again tonight.
Well, there was even some rumor and speculation when people thought that MJF might not be showing up for the match at Double or Nothing. They were like,
Goldberg
you know what they might do is they might fly in Goldberg, and then it's a Wardlow Goldberg.
Those
thing.
people need to shut the fucking
fuck
mouth.
you, Marks. Like you're the people that I actually hate. Like because that's dumb booking, and no one wants to see that. That would
and
be.
You are also the same people who are talking shit about AEW because of the people that they have who are ex WWE, and you're like, oh, it's WWE 2.0. But if any of those people came back to WWE, you would fucking shit your pants and yell and scream.
Correct.
Yeah. So fuck off.
Well, and what else?
I got it.
No, sorry. Go.
I got a couple of things to run down real quick, if that's okay with you.
Please.
And because I know we got to finish that part, but I will
say
finish
just nothing. We can do whatever we want. I got all the time in the world, bro.
Me too. So, so I was gonna say, so I am watching a 6-woman tag right now, and we did do a little bit of talking about Ruby Soho and Britt Baker while that was happening. I will say, and I won't speak for you, but for me, the having Rancid there was fucking awesome.
It was dope. We didn't even touch. We didn't touch on any of the Owen Cup, and we missed all that stuff. And
it got me way behind her, like for that part, like because I have not been. But I will say though, once, because I think I actually sent it to you and Duncan. I said like, well, now it's up to her. I was like, it's all on her now. Like now it's her in the ring, fucking, and her skills. And I will say, she did show up and put out and did fucking.
It was probably one of her best AEW matches, if not her best.
It was. I can't get over, and fucking watching it right now, I can't get over her oversells. Everything is so fucking dramatic.
She's
and I don't
still
know
doing it.
If it's
She's
that
still
WWE,
doing it.
I don't know if it's also a combination of the makeup on her because of. So like everything looks over himself with like black lipstick and like
it's
you know what I'm saying?
Kind of part of her weird alien face, man. I just think that like when she opens her eyes real big, she has like alien buggy eyes, and then they look more exaggerated.
But she also like just the breathing, the mouth, like the thing I'm just like. But I do agree. The eyes do look. That might be a thing that she can't do anything about. Although I will say, but the makeup's not helping. The makeup's not helping. I know that's her style, but the eyeshadow and the lipstick's not helping because it draws attention.
She needs to turn heel like yesterday and needs to go like full gothy, just all black, like all black with it, and never smile, like because her smile's not doing her any justice. That's Ruby Riott, is what I'm saying. Like
I will say that
you could throw her if you wanted. You could almost House of Blacker if you wanted. You could.
You almost could, but I think they did a way better job.
It's cooler with Julia Hart.
I think way better.
I like
and that girl's like, and dude, that girl's like fucking 20 or something.
I love the whole like fallen angel type thing, right? Like she's this beautiful blonde, innocent, like I like that more than it's the Ruby Soho thing that can,
like it didn't need to be that. I will say, now that we're talking about women, I know you and Duncan came around on her a lot earlier than I did. And this was not the night that made me come around because I did before that, but you guys were way ahead of me on it. But dude, Chris Statlander, when she didn't get into the finals, did you hear that crowd fucking booing on Rampage?
They were pissed.
I was pissed, dude. That was also my pick, but dude,
she would have got in there.
Talk about showing up for a fucking match. She showed up and she fucking crushed that match.
Well, let's be real. Like the only reason she didn't win that match is because they already had planned they wanted Britt and Adam Cole to be the Owen Hart prom king and queen, and if they would have they would have been even more pissed if that would have happened at the pay-per-view against Britt. Because I think it seems like what they've established now is it's going to kind of be like a Statlander going after the TBS championship with Jade Cargill, along with some sort of alliance with Athena, it seems like is kind of happened. Who knows? We'll maybe find out more. I don't think there was much of we missed it when
there was. So Athena
there was something about
on
it.
The top of the ramp that Tony Schiavone it looked like he was. I wasn't listening, but he did an intro, like brought her out.
Yeah.
And then what is it, Red Velvet and
The baddies.
and Jade. Yeah, Jade and the baddies came out, and then like Chris came out, and
So that's moving forward, essentially.
yeah. But I think if we actually looked at the way they were standing next to each other, you would see what they were doing, because it was
like Red Velvet, Athena, Jade,
Red Velvet,
Cargill,
Athena up front, and I think at the very back it was Jade and Statlander.
See, that makes more sense, and I would like, as great as Cargill's run's been, she's gonna need a break at some point. She can't keep up the streak forever. I think Statlander is the perfect person to beat her. I think she's been
doing great,
and it keeps going back to the AEW new and old, all that, right? Like the old being the younger and more established AEW people as well, the people that are homegrown. Maybe that's a better way to term it, like the homegrown and the new, right? And I think that because Jade in particular is a homegrown AEW star that is fucking a star, I think that you have to take it off by another AEW star. And I think that is a smart decision. If she were to drop it to Statlander, like, yeah, of course, Statlander, like, she worked extra stuff in WWE. She worked the indies. I'm not saying she didn't, but we all know her as an AEW wrestler, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's smarter for them to do that rather than like Athena to come in and Athena take it off Jade Cargill. I think that's a smarter decision. Now, later down the line, Athena can take it off Statlander or something like that, right?
But Athena can help elevate other people too right now, and Red Velvet has been getting a push, and yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. I feel like we've talked so much about the MJF thing. We've talked so much about Double or Nothing, but we do still have one more AEW thing to kind of talk about.
I did really quickly just want to get your note. I'm so sorry.
No.
Hardys and Bucks and Joe and Cole, and we don't have to go in depth.
Yeah. Weirdly, Joe and Cole, I wanted to be so much better than it was. Guess Cole was working injured, so that might be part of it, but I don't know. I didn't hate it, but it didn't. I didn't hate it. It was average. That could have been on a Dynamite for me.
Yeah, that could have been on Dynamite for me.
Yep. That wasn't really what It felt as soon as Cole won, we knew it cheapened the Britt Baker match. Like, because as soon as we knew Cole won, we knew Britt was winning.
But if you knew Britt won, you would have known
Cole was winning. Like, 100%. But they're like, Cole's gear was fucking awesome. So,
and that's what also made me call it, because if you'll remember, I sent to you and Duncan
a message where
I was like, they're gonna do Prom King and Queen. She was wearing fucking Owen Hart gear too.
Yeah. The white and the pink and the with the belts, like everything looks awesome. Like the next time they better start fucking playing that up and wearing that every once in a while too. I want to see him with those belts on TV. I want to see him doing.
They've both been on TV with the belts tonight.
Yeah, and that's what we need. That's like
they actually used. So what's her name? Vince Vaughn's in the crowd.
Yeah.
Where are they? Oh, are they in California? Jade.
Yeah, it's their first LA show.
Do you see the Kia forum? You see that?
Yeah.
I saw maybe like Macaulay Culkin. I saw like basically 2 months ago. Whenever I noticed they changed the Kia logo, I was driving behind a Kia.
It's weird, right?
I thought it was a 9 Inch Nails.
It's sticker. Backwards 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh, it's Kia. I was like, I thought it was 9 Inch Nails.
Like Trent's building cars now? Weird.
Yeah, it's weird. So yeah, I agree with that. I think it could have been on a Dynamite. I will also say though, we have not been overly ecstatic in our reviews of any Joe matches. So at what point do we also
have to admit that Joe doesn't have it anymore? You know,
yeah, maybe he should just be a commentator.
I think that time is coming. I think that we've got this Ring of Honor television champion. Like he's gonna get. I know Tony wants this like 1 hour a week TV deal with Ring of Honor. That's what Meltzer's reporting, right? I think if we can get there, have Joe as the face for a few months just to get it started, then he can take his break. But yeah, don't.
Well, I don't even know if it's take a break.
No,
I
it's
think it might be
retire.
done.
It's
Yeah,
retire.
I
It's
think
retire.
done.
The other thing you wanted to, of course, ask me about
He would
was
be a great manager.
he could be a manager. He could be a backstage commentator. He could start his own stable. There's a
He could do a lot of things. He just doesn't need to be competing, and I don't want to see him get hurt again.
He could do something along the lines of what Regal's doing right now.
Yeah.
And he could start maybe even start his own faction where he's
great on the stick,
because he'd be great on the stick. He can also sit down and like he could train guys. He could do like a Blackpool Combat Club thing, but on the Joe side. Great competitors later down the road for them if you wanted to even fuck with that, right? So I don't know what they plan on doing with it, other than I think that you're gonna see like that transition into all like there's a lot of guys that right now are gonna be you're a Ring of Honor guy, you're not an AEW guy. Like we're gonna keep you around, keep you relevant, but you're gonna be kind of I think there are gonna be guys that are pigeonholed into that, and then you might see dudes that bounce back and forth, but it might be better for the two brands if they were actually kind of two brands.
Yeah.
The other thing you wanted to talk about or ask me about was the Hardys Young Bucks.
Yeah, that's my last one.
God damn it. I mean, the Bucks killed it again. I've never wrestled in my life, but from what it looked like from my perspective, it felt like they carried the Hardys. And,
yeah, dude, and Jeff looked like
he didn't look good. He didn't look good.
Did not look good. I actually thought, I don't know if this was like a work or not, like when he walked out into the crowd after they won, I thought maybe, I was like, is he leaving again? But then he just like did his loop and then got back in the ring. But
I think that was the intent.
I think that was the intent, but it did get me.
Excuse me, wrong pipe.
It's all right. You're giving me a second to. I brought a little. I've been rolling around my house with a cooler because of my knee. So I've got some claw surges here in my cooler.
Oh, there you go. Surge it up. Sorry about that. Woo. No, we might have to take a short break here in a minute if you don't mind, because I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, we can. Well, we both said we both have enough.
Yeah,
time. I'm literally not doing anything else tonight. I'm
perfect.
After this, I'm gonna eat more weed in a little bit, and I'm gonna go to sleep later.
Perfect. No, we'll take a 10-15 minute break here in a minute. But the thing I wanted to ask you about, which directly applies to kind of some of the stuff that we've seen here on tonight's Dynamite while we've been doing the show, is that of the Forbidden Door. And after the opening match with Punk and FTR versus basically the Ass Boys and who was it? And the Acclaimed.
Yeah, and the Acclaimed.
Yeah, because they're like buddies now. They're like they're
scissoring all the time.
I kind of like it. It's working for me.
And only one of the Acclaimed can wrestle right now.
Exactly. No.
Did you see though when fucking Billy Gunn, they did that bit where he's like trying to find them and they're like the Ass Boys are passed out in the beds in the hotel room, and what's his name? Yeah. He's like passed out with his fingers and they're like scissoring. Waiting for a scissor on his fingers.
Not Max Caster, the other one. The
Antony.
God damn it! I know his name. It's just slipped my mind.
Why am I fucking forgetting?
Yeah, I've actually seen him wrestle a bunch of times.
Here, I got it. Hold on. It's Antonio something.
That's not Antonio. Right? It's not Antonio. Now, Jesus,
Anthony Bowens.
Yeah.
Antonio Bowens.
It's not, okay. That's close enough.
Jesus, Moxley's covered in fucking blood again.
Yeah, he likes doing that. That's like his thing. That's that.
It's like that fucking Whamhoff or whatever fucking meditation guy taking cold showers. Fucking Moxley showering
just
in blood.
Showers in his blood. Oh, now we got but no, I wanted to ask you
showering in blood might be a good name for the show.
Showering in blood. I'll jot it down.
Yeah.
No, seriously, let's talk about the Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
Because they have a lot less time than they usually do to set up a pay-per-view.
a lot less time. So
we got like a month. We got like a month right now. We're on WWE schedule to put this thing together.
Although we did say that not all matches have to be AEW versus New Japan.
No, they don't. They can have just AEW matches. They can have just New Japan matches, but we're going to have a crossover at some degree, and we've obviously seen where that's leading to after the match that CM Punk and FTR won tonight. Obvious victory, of course, against the Ass Boys and Max Caster of the Acclaimed, but fucking Tanahashi, yep. And yeah, it's a great choice. I like that it's not Okada. I like that they've already kind of told us this isn't going to be like a champion versus champion type deal. Yep. This is and I feel like this one's probably going to be one of the easiest pay-per-views to predict ever, because we're going to definitely have like guy from AEW win, guy from New Japan win, guy from, and it's when they do have those matches. So for this one, Tanahashi can take a loss. He's not their champion.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, this match is brutal. I can't wait to watch this one back. This Daniel Garcia Moxley match is.
Dude, he just got knocked on this. Holy shit.
Yeah, I saw it. I'm also a little bit ahead of you too. So,
dude, that thing was fucking rough. How he landed.
God damn it! Look at him, Moxley. Just look at Moxley. Like, can you stay alive?
Replay.
You've got 3 minutes left on the show. Can you stay alive without your blood dying, dripping out of your face, please? For that,
dude. What was that blood mark on the steel steps? Daniel Garcia bounced off it. Was that him?
I think that's got to be off Mox.
I gotta watch this match again.
Yeah,
to see it,
we're definitely gonna have to watch this.
He's definitely bleeding on his shoulder. But
is this the start of the defection from the Jericho Appreciation Society into the Blackpool Combat Club for Garcia?
It might be, yeah.
That's what it feels like.
He seems more suited.
I mean, he always was, and I've heard the whole thing about Jericho, and oh my God, Mox about the tap. This whole thing is, this is a very, very good match. We should probably.
It's brutal.
Yeah, wow. You guys definitely watch this tomorrow if you haven't already. It's almost over here. But no, Forbidden Door, back to that whole, just Tanahashi doesn't need to take a loss. So Punk will win that. Then you can, if you want to get Okada involved, you can do a Okada Hangman or something. That would be cool.
You could. Do you think you could do, what do you do with Ospreay, though?
I don't even know that Ospreay wants to do it. If he does, it could be Ospreay. Mox. They've got kind of an ongoing feud, so you can.
They could. He's not trying to do anything else. That's the thing. At least my understanding. I read an article with an interview with him the other day, and he was saying I'm completely okay with where I'm at. He's like, I'm not trying to wrestle in WWE. I'm not trying
to be a sports entertainer.
He was just He was like, listen. I the way I was raised, family is very important. And he was like, I can go home. I can see my grandparents, my parents, and he's like, I'm around them. And then I go to Japan and I wrestle and I do my tours. I can come home and I'm a family man.
And he's had his struggles with mental health as well. It's nice. It's nice to hear a guy like that kind of talking out in the open and
he knows where he's at.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised. I would love more than pretty much anyone, and him and doing him and Moxley on American television would be amazing, right? And I think it would. There's a lot of people that just don't know. They're gonna have to do a good job of educating the American audience to these New Japan stars. I know some, but I don't know a ton. I don't know all the New Japan guys, and I'm a pretty
Okada.
You could, yeah, you could.
To get people more into New Japan.
I just don't know that New Japan would want to waste that big of a match on not on one of their pay-per-views. Like that feels like that would be a
But
bad
if they're
business
trying to
move.
break into the market,
Then it
more,
would. Then it would. Yeah. I mean, there's
like, you know, at the end of the day, business, the money does talk.
and we've already kind of seen how we're
And
gonna get.
Ospreay does not need to win that.
We're gonna get FTR. Did Mox win that or lose that? I don't even know. There was a whole fucking thing that happened.
Wait, did Kingston just like trip running to the
Yeah,
ring?
he did. Yeah, he almost pulled a goddamn what's
not
his face?
Apollo Crews,
Whatever his that guy.
What is his name?
Oh, we're just not good with names tonight.
Titus
O'Neil. Yeah, so I missed the finish of that, but it seems like
it's like Jericho
was
ran out,
gonna
Moxley
cost Mox, and then Kingston, saved the day, and so now we've got. I guess we're gonna be setting up for Mox Kingston versus Garcia Jericho thing, which I'm all right with. That'll be cool. That'll be fine.
Yeah,
that'll be fine. But no, like.
Oh, cool! On Wednesday, Hangman Page is wrestling David Finlay now.
Okay, but no, so they're setting up all this weird. Oh, we got a hair versus hair match. Ortiz and Jericho. Well, Jericho's not cutting his hair. That's not happening. Blood and Guts is announced for something.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I thought they went through all their blood.
they don't have much left. Just again back to that Forbidden Door thing. The only other thing that we kind of know is that we've got FTR probably facing, the New Japan World Champs who will probably who were the two that it was Great Khan and Jeff Cobb that attacked them.
Yep.
Right. So
so we did have that. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, that happened at the pay-per-view. No one seems to really being talking about that. Oh no, it didn't happen at the pay-per-view. It happened at the previous Dynamite with the right?
Yeah, previous Dynamite.
Yeah, sorry. So you got to assume that we're going to get FTR versus them, and they've talked about wanting a chance at the, IWGP championships. So they were just champions. They just lost it, but they can probably win it back in time for them to face FTR, which FTR then just give them like all the belts because they're the best tag team in the world right now, and they deserve it.
Yep.
Give
them the women's belts that Sasha and Naomi left.
Well, that sort of brings us to the next point. And do we want to take just a 10 or so minute break? Yeah. I think Teresa is going to be getting home or is just gotten home.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to take
the tea. I got to hit the head.
Yeah, take 10, 15 minutes. We'll be back.
Take Bella outside.
Yeah. Go for a little walkie walk, and we'll be back with the second segment of Ohno Wrestling. Mini Woo. Woo. Woo.
red lights, driving at night, windowless ride, feeling alive, nothing in sight, forever in flight, follow those lines, we'll make it this time, blurry street lights, work as a guide to memories that we'll make it tonight, oh yeah, we'll make it tonight, yeah. I'll do anything that I feel like I wanna do, I'm living life like I got nothing left to prove, no end in sight, just always staying on the move, I'll go all night, if that's just what I gotta do. Life's too short to care about what you can't afford, memories are real what you explore, so just don't be ignored, go ask for more, go ask for more, 'cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute, going for a ride down the side, PCH, country limit, I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit, are you alive, or just breathing, 'cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute, going for a ride down the side, PCH, country limit, I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit, are you alive, or just breathing, I'm in a race that everybody's chasing fast, they wanna be that someone on the screen at last, they ain't looking inside for their needs in life, they wanna be liked by everybody in sight, but trust me, being free ain't spotlights, no it's long nights and it's long fights with yourself all the time to get your mind right, but if you put in the work you can find the light, alright. I'll do anything that I feel like I wanna do, I'm living life like I got nothing left to prove, no end in sight, just always staying on the move, I'll go all night, if that's just what I gotta do. Life's too short to care about what you can't afford, memories are real what you explore, so just don't be ignored, go ask for more, go ask for more.
Yeah, with the funky beats. We are back. This is the Ohno Wrestling Podcast. And, oh, wait. I think I unmuted you. Hang on. My name is Owen. I'm still your Sharp Break Kid. And still with me is my good friend, Matthew, the modern day Maharaja. I know it's not wrestling, Matthew, but I'm watching the Lightning get their asses kicked right now by the Rangers. We're at 6-2, man. 6-2. Third period, about halfway through. 6-2. So
how many minutes left?
Oh, we got about 11:30 left. So
I mean, you got a fair amount of time, but that's a lot of goals.
That's a lot of goals.
Time.
Yeah. Well,
that is a lot. But hey, okay. Never say never. Never say never.
Not with the Lightning, and not with the NHL, not with Stanley Cup playoffs. And we're just feeling, we're feeling them out, right? We're up there in New York. We're in Madison Square Garden there, and maybe we do have to. We'll drop this one. Maybe they'll let their guard down. They won't, much like sometimes people let their guards down in predictions with me. Maybe, just maybe.
I mean, I thought going into it, I think I told you and Duncan, I was like, I'm done. I was like, I picked Kyle O'Reilly and Chris Statlander, and somehow I fucking pulled through to tie with Duncan.
You did. Well, I took that risky shot with the MJF thing, and then I took the main event, risk with Hangman. But
that was a big risk.
That all changes tonight because we got to get right back into predictions. And do you want to start with this before we get into any other WWE stuff? I feel like all that other stuff's going to kind of like filter in anyway, so we can.
I think it will. Yeah, I think you're right. So do we start with NXT in your house?
I think so. And this is the show that clearly we all probably have the least amount of not only investment but knowledge on.
I have zero knowledge. I will accept the knowledge I watched last night, which I told you was a horrible viewing experience.
Yeah.
I immediately was like, yeah, no hockey.
We might, if this continues, this might be the last NXT preview we do, because it's getting to the point where I don't know
we're not calling things we're even watching.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So I do have Duncan's predictions for both shows,
right.
both this and Hell in a Cell, and I guess we'll just rock right into it. We do have I guess it's, what is it, NXT in your house, NXT 2.0 in your house 2022. Is that that'd probably be the full name of it. I don't know if they've got
2022.0.
Yeah, there you go. Even better. Even better. So, Grimes versus Carmelo Hayes for the NXT North American Championship. This is, again, I haven't been watching in a while. It seems like Grimes has been on a good run, but he beat Carmelo Hayes, or Carmelo Hayes did have the NXT North American Championship at one point, did he not? I feel like he did.
I don't know.
I feel like he did. Or maybe he was just the favorite in that ladder match. I don't know. Carmelo Hayes, though, seems like a guy that has got a lot of, promise. And I might be tempted to go with him, especially because your boy Duncan over here, he went Grimes. And
I'm going Grimes, too.
So, all right. I'm going to start things off boldly, and I'm going to go Hayes, and you two are going to grime it up. And that's fine. I got to take some risks. I got to take some swantons onto some steps, to be able to make this work. So that's just
the boot is loose.
This next one here, tag team match for the NXT Tag Team Championships. We got Pretty Deadly, who are the current champions, Elton Prince and Kit Wilson. First off, what do you think? What do you think of these guys? What do you think of these guys?
I'm literally, I think, seeing them for the first time.
They came over. They came over from NXT UK, and I think it was around that whole time that they had to fire what's his face from MSK, Nash Carter. I think they brought them over to literally be like interim champs for a while until like the Creeds got there.
Okay.
Because I
like it. So I'm looking at a picture right now of like, you know, they do like a card, right? Like on the a screen, and it's like, you know, them versus them, right?
Oh,
like
the match graphic. Yeah,
the match graphic. So I'm looking at it right now. They do look like they're from NXT UK, which like I said, I don't know them, but and I like them more just looking at and I'm basing this off looking at the picture.
Yeah. It's like the old thing, like in sports. Like if you don't know anything about sports, it's like, okay, what do we got? I think this was on like a show called like Wings back in the day. Remember there was a guy
Wings. My God,
remember Wings? So the dude that played Monk was the taxi driver, and he was like this foreign taxi driver, and they would constantly ask him for betting advice as to what team was going to win, and all he would do was base it upon like the name of the team. So if it was like the Panthers versus the Jaguars, for instance, like he'd base it on like the animal or whatever the mascot was.
Panthers are technically Jaguars.
That was a bad example. Two different.
Yeah. But Florida teams. I get it.
Okay, a Buccaneer, for instance, versus a Buccaneer versus or a Patriot versus a Jaguar, right? Like, well, they got muskets. They're gonna win. So they can shoot the Jaguar. They're gonna win. So I think it's like the same type of thing. You're doing like based upon just the match graphic. You're looking at them. You're sizing them up, and you're saying who's gonna take this thing.
It is because looking at the match graphic, Pretty Deadly looks like a young boy groomed version of Siegfried and Roy.
It's sad because they're almost just such a ripoff of Fandango and Tyler Breeze.
I'm getting that vibe.
Yeah. What were they called? Oh, damn it. We're terrible with names tonight. What were they called?
Fashion Police?
Well, they were Fashion Police, but they had another Breezango, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're kind of they are kind of like the ripoff of that, just with like long hair.
Yeah. I will say
also you've got LA Knight with his whole deal going on up on the main roster with his male models. Tell me those two don't fit perfectly into the male model aptitude like that they want like for his whole gimmick. So I could see them like getting a bump up to the main roster real quick because of that. That's why I'm going with the Creeds, as is Duncan.
I'm going Pretty Deadly.
You going Pretty Deadly, huh? All right. Yeah. You just think they're that pretty?
I just don't think NXT is so built into that UK strong style yet that it's time. I think that from like the bits and pieces I saw, like
they're not strong. Like, they're not.
I think that Pretty Deadly looks like what they're shooting for. They're like straight down the middle.
All right, fair enough. All right. Weirdly, we're gonna have to skip around a little bit.
I'm basing all of my predictions off graphics.
Oh yeah, for sure. How do we feel about the tag team match for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships? Interesting that they still have NXT Women's Tag Team Championships over there.
Okay, this is what. Is this what I watched last night?
Probably. Toxic Attraction versus someone. Gigi Dolan and JC Jane versus Katana Chance and Caden Carter.
So what I did catch last night before I told myself I told you off air, but I was going to switch back and forth between. I was like, oh shit, fucking NXT's on. I'm never watching TV at this time on a Tuesday night, right? Because usually we're recording a show. So I was like, fuck. I was like, shit, NXT's on. But then I knew that the Avalanche and the Oilers were on. And so I saw it and I was like, I'll switch back and forth, right? And I started with NXT and I was like, I'm going to give it a good shot. I want to watch some wrestling. I was like, I'm coming off a wrestling weekend. I want to watch some wrestling. I missed Raw. So I haven't been traveling as much because of my knee, so I don't watch Raw as much.
Yeah.
It's interesting how that happens. When I travel,
When you travel, it's
I'm
your
watching
hotel,
all of Raw.
Yeah, it's
right?
your hotel room. Yeah, unwind.
Yeah, it's like that in Shark Tank. But yeah, so it was horrible what I watched last night and I know that what's her name? The main person in Toxic Attraction.
Mandy Rose.
Mandy Rose.
She's
yes,
she's your women's champion.
I should know
NXT.
her name.
Yeah, NXT Women's Champion.
Yeah, I should know her name. So I will just say it was the girl. I'm not seeing the girl who was dressed as the cow last night in this graphic. There was a girl dressed up as a cow.
That might be Wendy Chu, who's always showing up. The sleepy Wendy Chu. Yeah,
sounds definitely like it. Don't like her. Don't like her gimmick. Nothing about it. The whole thing fucking.
She likes to. She's like the female crappy version of Orange Cassidy that just falls asleep all the time. She's like
and wears a cow suit. That's horrible.
And she does wear cow suits. She wears they're more onesies, so it changes. It's not always a cow, but sometimes it's a pink bunny.
It's horrible. I don't like her, and I only saw a minute of it, and I didn't like it. So I actually wasn't paying attention to what they were saying last night. I was more trying to find the remote to switch back to hockey, and I'm gonna say, take it away from Toxic Attraction, give it to these other chicks.
And I'm literally gonna.
I'm gonna take a chance on.
Chicks.
I'm gonna take a chance on Katana Chance. I don't know.
Whereas I'm gonna go with Toxic Attraction retain the belts. I think that is happening. That could go either way though too. Mandy Rose then versus Wendy Chu. You got Sleepy, you got Hot Chick, a lot of real in-depth stuff going on with their storytelling. So it's up in the air. Duncan,
yeah, Wendy Chu, that's definitely that bitch's name.
Duncan went with Wendy Chu. With this one, Wendy, he thinks
stupid choice, Duncan. So I'll say that to your face.
Okay, yeah, that's. I'm gonna go with Mandy Rose on this.
Yeah, me too. Obviously,
I'm gonna go with Mandy. Maybe
I don't like anything about that Wendy Chu gimmick. Zero things.
Okay, good to know. Now we also
in this graphic, she's wearing a fucking sleeping mask.
Yeah, she likes sleeping. That's her gimmick.
Fuck that bitch.
She likes.
Fuck her. She's like the annoying girlfriend who lays around your place, doesn't do shit, doesn't have a job.
No job. Fucking... Yeah.
Fuck you, Wendy Chu.
We should double back a little bit though too and find it we should probably discuss, because I know some of the comments, and let me see. There was another comment here from our post here. People want us to talk about the Sasha Naomi walkout, and Rodney specifically says, "What's the end game for the Sasha and Naomi?" And pointing, basically what they're doing with the tag team titles being removed. Because right now they announced that they were going to do a tournament for the women's tag team titles after, they left, and then nothing ever happened with it.
I did not hear any of that. You were frozen on my end.
I was frozen. Yeah, I
so
saw.
I don't know if that was my connection or
it's
yours.
Probably mine. It's probably mine.
But so you said Rodney, and then you were going to read.
Yeah.
Then
basically,
cut.
Well, basically, he's like, "What's the end game for these tag team women's championships?" Right? That's because they said that they were going to do a tournament for them, and then they just didn't. And they haven't, because they don't have enough women's tag teams.
Yeah.
Can you not do something with just merging the NXT women's tag champs with the main roster ones? There's got to be something there.
Hold on, I got you. Hold on. Have you heard of the word unification?
Oh shit.
Yeah.
It seems like, and I'm interested.
I mean, I think this is the only time this makes sense, other than the Roman winning them. But he unified them, but there's still two belts. I don't understand how you unify two things, but
Yeah,
still
just
have
make
two
one
separate
belt.
things.
Just make a belt.
That's just like, at least come out with a very cool belt just for Roman. And when he loses it, it's like a fucking comic book character and it poofs to dust or turns into two of them. Great. I love it. Cool. But the unification, I will say, like, one, I don't think there is or was an end game because they didn't think that was going to happen. So they are doing damage control. I think they're trying to figure out the best way to do it. And I think that the best way to do it, and we have said it on this show before, is to unify them because they don't have a stacked women's roster in the tag division. Like, I don't need to see Natalia teaming with some random person. No. I don't need to see, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Nikki Ash,
what's her name? What's the Rock's other, what's it? Tamina. Yeah. I don't need to see Tamina with some, like, they would do Tamina and
the Rock's daughter.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. She didn't get, I read reports that she didn't get, certain call-ups and people were pissed. And it's like, well, I don't know. I've watched a lot of The Rock's commercials on Instagram and Facebook and things. Like, you got to work hard, apparently. It looks like it. So does she work as hard as him? I'm not seeing the proof, But regardless, I will say that, man, with the women's titles, I think they would do better unifying them right now. But if you unify them, do you unify them in the bloodline storyline? And if so, how do you do that without doing a Tamina or like
they lost daughter? Which the only way to do it would be with Naomi. Like, that would have been the only way to do it, and they theoretically might have lost Naomi, right? So,
do you think there's like weird conversations happening behind scenes that we don't know about, where it's like, hey, we want to talk to you, what really happened? Like, it is a giant corporation. WWE is a giant corporation, but that does also mean that, like, they do have an HR department. They do have certain steps that you have to go through, right? So, like, even if someone walks out, there is a record of someone somewhere reaching out after that, saying, like, they don't, and like, that's the thing, Naomi or Sasha doesn't have to talk to them, right?
They can talk through an Uso, for instance, or something.
They don't even
like
have to talk through anyone. They could just say, I'm done. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing, is like, but there's a record somewhere in WWE, like, because that's the thing, if it's not written down on paper these days, or there's a digital record, it didn't happen, right? That's why fucking social media is so popular. We fucking all take pictures and share things all the time and shit. Like, the record of something happening is, like, more important than the thing actually happening at the end of the day, for the most part, because you can actually go back to it, right? Like, that's what we want to do. We want to go back to it. So, like, so in WWE's case, from a business standpoint, from an HR standpoint, as a corporation, they are very well structured and set up in that. And they literally have to probably have had some sort of, like, hey, I'm contacting you. So there is a paper trail there, I'm sure. Whether or not Naomi or Sasha has wanted to talk, that's on them. They're not legally obliged to, right? They could you could quit a job for any means, right? So I don't know. I just wonder if those conversations happen, and then, like, someone like Naomi is like, well, yeah, but I'm open to talking, whereas, like, I don't have as much pull as a Sasha Banks,
which is probably accurate,
right? So like I did this, but, like, also, like, I don't know, I'm not saying she is doing this either, but you could also be like, yeah, I was in the moment, I was doing this, like, I like her, like,
yeah, my bad, like, I don't know, like, yeah, it felt right at the time, but something like that, like. And also, you take in the Naomi factor is the fact that she is married to an Uso. And during that time, remember when the Usos, like, all got, like, DUIs within, like, 3 weeks of each other?
Yeah.
And, like, it was crazy.
Did Jimmy get, like, 2 or 3?
Yeah, it was something stupid. And we were all like, why? Well, we were like, how the hell did they not fire these guys? Basically. And that was right before the whole Roman return, the whole bloodline thing happened. Like, we know why. So
that shit was written in stone.
Yeah, we're not going to fire you because of this. Maybe Naomi's a little bit like that. She feels a little bit more impenetrable, like in that sense, is that she can withstand, a little bit more politicking and whatnot because, yeah, I'm married to so-and-so and I'm technically, an Uso and I'm technically part of the, like, they've got to bring that on TV if they, like, want to make it, like, make sense.
I don't think that,
but they never really wanted to give, like, the whole reason those women's tag team
they didn't have any
championships
plans
exist.
for them anyway.
They never had any plans for them. The whole reason they exist is because Bayley and Sasha wanted them, and that it was a way to placate them without giving them the world titles, right? So
then makes sense. So do you now just wait for Bayley to come back? No, you got to put Bayley in the main event picture.
I feel like you do, but I do feel like it would be smart for them to at least cross division if you're going to keep any of it alive. Just get rid of the NXT ones. The basically whoever's the women's champion on the NXT side gets like the main roster ones, and now we just have them kind of float around. Like between brands, because the brand split's already kind of been proven to be done anyway. So why not just go full force with it?
Yeah, they're not saying it's a brand split, but I will agree. But I think that from the reports I've read, they're just open now to letting people cross when they need to. Whenever the fucking story, whenever their weak ass storylines fall apart.
We'll move back on to these predictions. We've got 2 more matches for NXT. We've got a 6-man tag team match that I know you're looking forward to because it's the stipulation on this is losing team joins the winning team stable. So they're forced to join the other team's stable. So that's an interesting one. Essentially, we've got the
Legado del Fantasma got to win this. Looking at the picture,
well, as Duncan likes to put them, the Greaseball Italians with Tony D'Angelo, Channing Stax Lorenzo, and Troy 2 Dimes Donovan.
I think only 1.5 of them is Italian.
Maybe
they're in the picture I'm looking at.
Versus Legado del Fantasma, Santos Escobar, Cruz del Toro, and Joaquin Wild with Elektra Lopez. I mean, Duncan's gone for the Greaseball Italians. So I don't remember who picked last, but
I'm going Legado del Fantasma.
You're going Legado, huh?
Yeah.
I think I'm going Legado too. I think they are the stronger, faction, but then again, they seem to like the Greaseball Italians, so that one could go either way for me. Now we have the main event of the evening, one would assume, with champion Braun Breaker versus Joe Gacy in a match that if Breaker is disqualified, he will lose the championship. So he's got to keep his cool and not get disqualified, because if he gets disqualified and Joe Gacy gets in his head.
I definitely picked that up on the fucking 10 minutes I watched last night, because he did a backstage promo where he all of a sudden picked up the TV and he was going to throw the fucking TV, and the girl got out of the way.
He had to restrain himself from throwing. And
then he was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm fucking restraining myself.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty fucking obvious Braun Breaker's winning.
Yeah, Braun Breaker's definitely winning this. I don't see them putting the belt on Gacy ever, probably. But without a gimmick change for real. So Duncan went Braun across the board there. That concludes our predictions for NXT in your house, which means we got to switch gears into the main show here on Sunday. God, there's so much wrestling. Hell in a Cell. Oh, man. I remember when Hell in a Cell used to be exciting.
Yeah, it used to be exciting. Now I just wish there was a Punjabi prison match built into it.
I mean, hell, why not? We only have one. We only actually have one Hell in a Cell match this year, though. So that's a positive for me. I do like that we only have one of the Hell in a Cell stipulation match.
Yes, I do like that.
And maybe we'll just start there. Maybe we'll just start with old Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. This is probably going to be a really good match.
It is. Remember, I mean, when he did was it in Georgia on the cell? Well, it wasn't a cell, it was a cage match. But when he did like the moonsault or whatever it was off the top, like
that's where he broke his ankle.
I think we're gonna see some good shit.
Some crazy Cody shit off this cell. Seth also a long history in the cell. Done quite a few. Now, one would argue he's not had the best history in the cell, especially with one Bray Wyatt match and all that shit. By the way, final New York Rangers 6, Tampa Bay 2. Not happy about that. Pretty bummed. But, hey, as always, next time we're 1-0 down. Long series to go. This will be the match of the night. I'm almost convinced. It should go on last, really, especially since there's no it's like there's no Roman on the card, right? So just put it on. That'll go on last, and it's a Hell in a Cell match. On paper, it seems like Cody Seth 3 should go to Cody.
Yep.
But I'm not 100% convinced, Duncan went Cody. And it's the safest of the bets. But
it's the safest of the bets, and I'm leaning that way. I'm not
too.
Calling it yet. I just think that, like, if you go, Cody can't lose yet if this is what you're doing. But it would be a major win for Rollins to like, not in the sense that like he needs it, but in the sense that he could have that kind of like bragging right. There is not much on the line. Seth doesn't need to win, though.
Yeah.
Cody doesn't need to win either, but it makes more sense for him to win.
Yeah,
so I'm going to go Cody.
I'm going to go Cody as well. We're going to have to go Cody across the board on that one. Pretty boring. How about then we'll step things up a notch and go with the women's triple threat for the Raw Women's Championship. Belair, Asuka, and Becky Lynch. Of course, Belair being your champion.
Bianca Belair.
It's it's too soon to take the belt off her. Asuka's not hot enough yet for it to happen. I think that if you're smart on this one, Becky takes the pin.
Becky takes the pin. You can make Asuka look really strong and keep her in the
keep her in the contention
matches.
Yeah.
And she's contending. I think that's what they need to do while maintaining Bianca Belair, because Bianca Belair needs to hold it for a little bit.
Yeah, it's too soon. Lashley versus Omos and MVP, a 2-on-1 handicap match.
God, why do they book my dream matches?
Oh, dude, I know you've been waiting since birth to see Omos versus an MVP.
Yeah, it was written in the stars when I was a kid. I didn't know what I was looking up, but it was like the constellation is like an Omos constellation.
You saw that tall man, and you saw that big beefy boy, and you said one day they will be together with a man with a cane. And
yep.
Duncan has gone with Bobby Lashley on this one in this 2-on-1 handicap match. I, however, say that they are going to go with Omos and MVP.
That's what I'm going with, too.
Damn it, really? Omos.
Yeah, I think they've done this so many fucking times. If you're trying to continue to fucking push Omos down our throats, then you need to have him beat someone like Bobby Lashley in order to keep our fucking attention.
You kind of do, and the only way that you can do that credibly, rather, that's the word, is with having kind of MVP there too, to take it away. You could also make the argument that that would make Bobby Lashley look super strong if he were to defeat both of them, but I just don't see it happening that way, especially after that match on Raw that they had a couple weeks ago where they had that cage match and the cage broke and then Bobby just literally walked off because so that's the reason I think that you're going to get an Omos MVP win on this one, is kind of more based upon that match. Ezekiel and Kevin Owens in a singles match. Now this one,
I'm for this match right now.
this might be like, I mean, Cody and Seth's gonna rule in the cage, but
This one's gonna be entertaining.
next to that, I feel
because they've done such a good fucking job at entertaining us through this entire thing, and I think that Kevin Owens is gonna win.
Whoa.
Yep, I think Kevin Owens is gonna win, and
are we gonna get an admission of them being the same person?
I think it's either that or some trickery, like that exposed. Like we're gonna get some it's gonna be exposed. They've done this storyline so well. Like, I will give WWE credit where I'll give anyone credit where credit is due. They've done this so well, and both fucking Ezekiel and Kevin Owens have done this so well. But it's not something you can keep going for such a long time. And there's the two ways this can go is one, Kevin Owens wins and there's some sort of exposure. Two, Ezekiel is fucking Ezekiel and you are now never going to call him anything else. And he beats Kevin Owens and that's that. And Kevin Owens doesn't say anything anymore about this. And I don't think that is the case. I think that Kevin Owens is not going to lose to him, Ezekiel. He's not going to.
I think he is. I mean, I haven't put pen to paper yet, but I'm leaning towards.
All right, what if Ezekiel is really a twin?
That would be the biggest.
That would be dude. That's like must-see TV. That's like the best thing.
They had up their sleeves from the moment Elias walked onto our screens. Like,
I'll give them fucking so much credit, dude.
I don't think that's the case, but I don't
think so.
But I do think that it can play into some sort of weird, like, I don't know. I don't want to say like schizophrenic, like, gimmick, but like kind of like maybe a split personality thing, right? Like that there's some split personality thing that informs like maybe like we all know now, or even just like a cheekiness that we've gotten, like Kevin Owens doesn't know it yet, but he's sort of like winking at the audience saying, no, of course I'm Elias. Like, and so we know, but Kevin Owens doesn't know, and it drives him crazy. I feel like Kevin Owens is going to get driven so crazy, it's just going to lead him to actually losing the match. And therefore, much like Duncan, I'm going to go Ezekiel is going to win the actual match.
All right.
Next, we have a match for the WWE United States Championship. Ah, man, probably one of the most prestigious prizes in the game. The United States Championship. I remember when I grew up what I wanted to be, and it was the United States Champion, much like the TNT Champion. You know,
when I was born in Canada, apparently the first words my parents said were,
"You're a
keep
future
your eye on the U.S. Championship.
You're a future U.S. champion. We can see it in your eyes." Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll call this right now. They're gonna go Theory because fucking we've seen how much support they have from Mustafa Ali in the past.
Duncan actually went with Mustafa Ali, and I really, that's one I think betting with your heart, not your head. And I
wish I could have, because I'd like to see him have a little bit of a comeuppance with the most prestigious championship in wrestling, but don't think it's happening.
No, I don't either, and I think they're so behind Theory they want to keep it on him for a while. Although it would be really cool. It would be really cool if they did that with Ali. And the thing with Ali is, I don't even know what he's wrestling as, if he's a heel or a babyface right now, to either. Like, so there's not much of a direction with him. At least I know with Theory what he is.
Yeah, they're putting him into generic indie wrestler territory.
So I'm gonna go Theory as well, and that'll be the second to last match here. Or no, this is the last one. We're going into it. We've got a little bit of okay. Before we get into this one, I wanna just throw something out here. There's been a lot of speculation online about one Wyndham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt, of course. There was even speculation that he might show up on tonight's Dynamite. Didn't.
Well, he did just on the 31st on Memorial Day, just add a new tweet to keep us all guessing.
Yes, he did. He likes these. Do you have the tweet?
I will have it, yeah, here in a second.
Yeah.
So,
And if there were, like, I still don't think, I think I've said this from the beginning, I do not want Bray, The Fiend, Wyndham, any fucking version of the guy in AEW. He doesn't fit. He doesn't fit. And he's just not a good enough worker, and we don't like all the spooky shit, really. You know, like House of Black, we give a little bit of a pass, but, you know, even that's sort of believable in comparison to what Bray used to do.
Yep.
So
he did tweet. So it was on the 31st, and he tweeted, are you serious? Fucking Twitter? I'm gonna have to do this on my phone. Sorry, like Twitter on my computer, I'm not logged in.
Oh, it's so amazing. It's so shitty.
They're like sign up.
Yeah,
they're like, do this, do that.
Know,
I'm like, can I not just look at this? So, but I did have it pulled up, and then it got me. So here we go. People, Bray Wyatt.
And while you're even pulling it up, wouldn't you say that if you were gonna bring him back to the WWE, wouldn't Hell in the Cell be the perfect place to bring him back?
It really would, but how does that work? I guess you could work him into
the Seth Cody match.
To Cody match, yeah. That's the way
you do it at the main event. You do it with the whole Seth thing. You see, I mean, remember how atrocious that Fiend Seth match was, you know, back in the day. So there, you know, if you're gonna bring him back, that's kind of where you do it. But could you also do it with the following match? But go ahead, read the tweet.
So I will read the tweet. So one day ago, he did do a profile picture change. So it's of a moth upside down. People have gone in and like zoomed in. So it is the Fiend's face. You can actually see upside down on the moth. That is the face of the moth. It's 100% the Fiend. And it's all crossed out in like red ink, right?
Okay.
So he did that first. He did change a little while ago. So his Twitter, like the name, not the handle, was like a red circle, right? And he did change it to Wyatt 6 recently. Okay. So then he did the update of the new profile pic. And then he has 3 tweets that I'm seeing from one day ago on 5/31. So the first one saying, everything good that's ever happened to me first came a period of horrible suffering. I never ask why. I just wait for the rough part to end. I was chosen for whatever reason, and I've got shit to do. It doesn't hurt anymore. It burns. I'm ready now. And then he has that circle emoji that used to be his profile picture.
Yeah, it's kind of, he's been using that. So
then he goes on.
Oh, he's still going.
He has 2 more tweets. The next tweet was, I'm tired of watching, tired of hearing irrelevant clowns speculate how I'll be perceived. Tired of hearing about my greed, my desire questioned. Wherever and whenever I decide to return, I'll remind everyone why they know my name. Again and again. Believe in me. Hashtag I found it.
I think I figured it out.
And then there is one more tweet before you get into that. There's one more tweet that just says, patience. It's almost time.
There's somebody in wrestling right now that I feel is almost doing exactly these types of promos. and his name is Edge with the Mountain of Omnipotence.
It makes so much sense for him.
If you were to bring in, essentially, if you were to bring in a Bray back to WWE as part of the Judgment Day, what is this all about? All those tweets, all about judgment, all about how you view me, the fans view me, and all this sort of stuff, which has been essentially the whole fucking gimmick of the Judgment Day since the beginning. He said the 6, right? Bray Wyatt 6 or something like that, or whatever.
Wyatt 6.
Wyatt 6.
And like you said, so where was it?
So we're already at 3 people. So if you add him and 2 more, then you've got something. And who could the other 2 be? Well, you could bring Braun back. You could bring Redbeard back. And now you've got the judge.
Braun's not going to forget that he started a steroid league and fucking, Chuck E. Cheese's or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, you say that, but you never know. And even if
money talks, man.
Money does talk. He's a guy that I'm surprised they ever let go. Just because of his size. But even if it's not him, you can work other people into that role, and you could have maybe a 6-person faction or something like that. So maybe he's talking about that. Regardless of whether or not this happens, I still think the Judgment Day wins the. They have to, really. They have to win the match, the 6-person with Finn, AJ Styles, Liv Morgan, right? Like, I feel like it has to be Judgment Day, and I'm putting my shit down for that. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Bray as a part of that. The name of the pay-per-view sort of like, I don't know. It's always been sort of fitting for him. It kind of has his feel, the way these tweets have popped up.
Yeah,
I don't see him in AEW.
It made us hate it. Remember when they shot him and Seth in red? So there's that history there.
Because Judgment Day's got the purple.
They do, but Seth and Bray have history in Hell in a Cell.
They do. Are you going with Judgment Day, or are you going with the old fake Bullet Club, whatever they want to be called?
Wait, what are we booking?
So it's the 6-person mixed tag team match. Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Liv Morgan versus Judgment Day, Edge, Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley.
Did you see, by the way, what Liv Morgan tweeted? Someone took the image of all of them. I'm looking at the match card right now, but it's all of them like super old. And it says, I gotta send you this.
I haven't seen this. I don't know.
Dude, it's fucking hilarious. You're gonna laugh seeing all of them super fucking old on this card. I'm gonna go Judgment Day.
Gonna go Judgment Day. Fair enough. Well, that's gonna be an interesting one. There are enough chances for anybody to win it. And, I can't say that I'm super stoked on either the NXT card or the Hell in a Cell card. I'll definitely watch, Hell in a Cell. And kind of take your word on the NXT stuff if anybody watches it, but maybe I'll tune in if I'm not, too busy. But don't count your.
I'm probably not tuning in.
Probably not gonna.
With you.
You're literally hooking me for the fact that like I might see a Bray return and Cody and Seth might be good and there might be something interesting, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm for that. So I'm sending you this picture. I want to get your reaction on the podcast right now.
Okay.
I just sent you the picture of what she tweeted. It should be coming in any second, but it's of them.
This is Liv Morgan. She tweeted. Liv Morgan tweeted this.
And her tweet said, "Till the wheels fall off."
Oh, Jesus Christ! This is weird. What a weird. She tweeted that. This is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a picture of all of them looking super old.
I think Damian Priest, Liv Morgan, and Rhea Ripley look the worst.
Well, Rhea Ripley definitely looks the worst. Rhea Ripley looks the worst. Like, yeah. Finn, I think Finn looks the best. I think Finn.
Yeah,
Finn,
he
well,
does.
Finn and Edge.
Him and Edge.
Yeah, Finn and Edge look the best. AJ Styles, I do like fat face AJ Styles though.
Dude,
Like now I want to.
He got wide, man.
Yeah, now I just want to see fat face AJ Styles with a gray beard. And Liv, I'm sorry, I don't know. I want to see.
I don't know what happened to you.
I don't know what happened to you.
You
went
peaked in 2022.
You went down some sunny roads.
Oh, that's a good name for the podcast, Sunny Roads, with a RHODES.
Oh, Sunny Roads
yeah.
with it. Yeah, all right, that's good. Well, she is hopefully going to be locked up for forever. I hope so. That old Sunny, yeah, that's a pretty terrible situation right there, and yeah. It sounds like I know she basically said like, hey, she pleaded not guilty. I don't know how well that's going to work out for her.
Well, that's typically what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You try.
Well, speaking of other legal shit, we'll do a couple more little things here. But speaking of legal shit, you hear about Jake Atlas, unfortunately.
I did not.
Jake Atlas got in a domestic violent dispute and got arrested. With his boyfriend, who is apparently one NXT 2.0's Duke Hudson, who I'm not sure was out of the closet. So
okay,
I think that he was even, like that. Hey, nope, whatever. But there was something that happened there. I don't know if he's gay. I don't know. I don't care. If they were a couple, fine. If not, also fine, but there was
it doesn't matter, but the thing that sucks is that someone who maybe wasn't ready to come out fully to that got outed in the way.
If that is the case, and I feel really terrible about that. I just know that he was dating another one of the superstars, a female superstar, earlier in the year, so that might confuse things. I don't know what the situation is. All I know is that Jake Atlas did get arrested here in Orlando, and that it was a domestic violence thing, and this obviously brings into question whether or not we know he had that pretty horrific injury off of his debut or second match in AEW, I think it was. Yep. And now that obviously brings into question.
The question was it?
Well, whether or not we'll ever see him in AEW again. Like it feels like with a domestic violence type thing, it could be very. That's a very serious allegation. I could see Tony Khan not wanting to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah. And also innocent until proven guilty, but also if you are doing domestic violence, you should probably not do that. Yeah, you should probably not. Not just because of your career being ruined, but because it's a bad thing to do.
Yeah, that's
nobody
accurate.
Deserves that.
That's pretty accurate. We've had a very long show, Matthew, but there's
been good though.
Been very good. And there's one last thing I'll ask you about, and it's more of just like your perspective or your point of view and personal taste, honestly, about something that I've seen a lot of people. Some people bitching about, some people defending, some people being trying to defend the wrestlers with, and that's ads on canvases. How do you feel about ads on canvases in general in professional wrestling? Lately, AEW has been throwing that DraftKings logo on kind of like they're doing it sort of like a.
Are you talking straight on the mat or like mat and ring apron?
Talking straight on the mat. Straight on the canvas, like they've been doing with the DraftKings thing.
I mean, I have an easy answer. I don't like it, but I'll tolerate it.
Yeah,
if you gave me the option, I say don't do it. I think it distracts.
I do too.
I think you want to actually see what's happening in the ring. You want to be focused on that. You don't need other colors and shapes and things. It doesn't even matter what the actual brand is that's actually advertising. The colors and shapes and things are distracting our eyes, whether or not we realize it or not. And I think that having a blank canvas is better. I also would venture to say, and I have zero knowledge of this, I would think that almost a blank canvas, I guess I could argue it either way now that I'm saying it out loud, but I would think that having a blank canvas is more like what people train on.
Yes.
So they're more used to that.
Well, that 100% brings up something that like one of the counterpoints to it all is apparently it's one of the reasons that WWE never did it after like 1 or 2 times. They've had I think Lance Storm was the one that actually put up a big fuss about it, if believe it or not, and he found that with that advertising, whatever material, that vinyl or whatever it is on the canvas, made it too slick. And so your footing wasn't as good,
especially in the corners.
Exactly. So it became like a safety thing, and it got removed because of a safety issue because of the slickness.
I could see that. That makes a lot of sense. I've never like wrestled in a ring, but it makes sense from like the fact of when you think like you go from like a matte canvas type thing to like something printed on. It is slick. So like
absolutely,
even it like one. There's probably a chance people sweat and things will get on it. But even if not, it is a different thing. And you're right in the corner where you're actually holding people and setting to do superplexes and things like that.
Yeah, it brings up an interesting point when AEW are clearly leaning towards using it like on a pretty regular basis. And I feel like it's probably going to be a bigger topic as time goes on, because wait until someone does get hurt, right? And then all of a sudden, oh shit, we don't necessarily want your DraftKings fucking shit all over our ring. Aside from us just like visually not really loving it, like yeah, whatever, it's fine, we can get by it. But I don't want that there if there's more chance of a wrestler getting injured. That's I guess the whole
100% true. And I think if I went more like vain with it, right, and not safety, I agree with everything you just said. And like vanity wise, it's a little UFC.
I think that's what they want. I think that's what they're aiming for. I think they think by doing that it gives it a more authentic sports feel, because New Japan does do it quite a lot. They'll even throw shit on the turnbuckles, right? But to me, AEW's
that's a different culture.
Different culture for sure. But if you really need to throw, like, if it is a safety thing and you need to get away from that, do it like they did. I think it was one of the first. What was that? It wasn't Fyter Fest. They did that one thing that was for video games, like do you remember? It was like sponsored by a video game company or like a video game. First year of AEW. It was one of their first like big network. It wasn't Fyter Fest. It was Fight for the Fallen, right?
Okay.
Remember they had those like back to back. It was either Fyter Fest or Fight for the Fallen.
Oh, they did do that.
They had like crazy ads on there, and then there was even a Dynamite that they did that they had ads on the turnbuckles for Rick and Morty as part of the cross promotion with TNT.
I remember. And because that was the same time that I forget who it was dressed up as Rick and Morty.
Oh, it's Kenny and the Bucks, wasn't it? Or
yeah,
like, was it like the Best Friends? Or I can't remember now. It's so long ago.
I don't know, but yeah.
But yeah, like that's what I'm just trying to say is like if it is a safety issue for the wrestlers, isn't that an easy way around it, right? Like just just ring aprons or whatever. Just
I think ring aprons, and I mean even if you're gonna do what WWE does when they have the LEDs on the ring posts, right? Like if you're gonna do an ad, do the ad on the ring post with an LED,
or just on the barricades, right? Like throw an ad on the barricades,
which I think like do that. Don't do hanging curtains or canvas. Do just straight LEDs, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's why as dumb as it is, remember in Vegas we had a Cracker Barrel, bro.
I know, but or superimpose it, right? They do a lot of things
Yeah.
nowadays with augmented reality and stuff. That might be the next step. You do the blank canvas, and then anyone watching,
If you can do, they do it on like hockey, like we were talking about all night.
Yeah.
Like they straight up put ads on the ice that are not like they're
actually on
they're
the
not
ice.
they're not projection either, right? It's not a projector.
Yeah, no one in that arena is seeing it.
No, so it's an augmented thing, but it doesn't look like when the players cross it, it just looks like it's a thing on the ice, and
Yeah.
you could easily start doing that with the canvas. But if it's something that needs to kind of like be brought up, and one of these weird ass Tony Khan 10-hour post pay-per-view media
scrums or whatever the fuck they call them.
Yeah, like someone needs to ask him that shit, because like, have you thought about this? Because Lance Storm says.
So I think I love that idea. I think that because we've been talking about it, we do a next year Double or Nothing reunion. And in between now and then, we write down all those questions, and we somehow figure out in the next year, we have a year.
Oh, we'll get in that
How
scrum.
to get a media pass
We'll
to get
get
into the media scrum. And we ask the fucking hard questions.
I absolutely love that
and
idea.
every time they kick one of us out,
there's
one
more.
One right behind us. It's you, me, or Duncan.
Yeah. No, we can do it.
We at least get 3 hard hits in there.
Yeah. And no, I
love it.
I love it too. I also love our idea. We haven't done this yet especially because tonight was a long show and because Duncan wasn't with us. But we need to book our worst pay-per-views, our Forgotten Doors. We need to book our Forgotten Door pay-per-views as our basically our worst pay-per-views ever. And we'll be doing that in the next couple of weeks. You remember, of course, what I was talking about, Matthew, our Forgotten Door pay-per-view.
Yeah, the Forgotten Door.
Yeah.
Fucking love it. We're going to book that. It's going to be the best pay-per-view that you've never seen.
So
that should be our tagline. That should be our tagline, the best pay-per-view you've never seen.
I love it. We'll either do that next week or the following. We've got a lot going on. But that being said, it is time that we wrap things up for the week. We thank you for joining us for this extra special long broadcast of the Ohno Radio Show podcast. And yeah, we'll catch you hopefully next week. I don't know what the schedule's gonna be. Jobs and shit, everything's nuts. But we always try and give you one once a week, and we'll be definitely back after Hell in a Cell to talk about when Bray Wyatt, comes in and becomes the new Codyverse champion, and we'll go from there. So, hey, my name is Owen. I am your Sharp Break Kid. For Duncan, the King of Bong Style, and for Matthew, the one and only Maharaja. We are out for the week. Check us out, ohnomedia.com, ohnowrestling.com, facebook.com/group/Ohno Radio Show, and Ohno Wrestling, either one, whatever one you want to find. Patreon.com/ONRS and Twitch.tv/ONRS Live. Matthew, can we give it a woo and get out of here, baby?
Let's do it.
Oh.